Hi, babies. Welcome back to the 15th episode of Double Gemini podcast, our season finale. I'm your host, Gabby,
I'm Taylor.
and we have a reoccurring guest, Anna.
Welcome
Hello.
back, Anna.
Welcome back to the fun.
We have a really fun episode today.
It might
Strap
get a
in,
little,
folks.
it might get a little sad, might get a little real, but we're going to talk about TikTok as the new Tumblr.
Sure are. Let's get into it. So, TGIF babies. We've got Anna back here again today. If you guys haven't seen the episode we did with her the first time, that was episode number 12, where her and a couple of our other friends were all together. So that was a really good one. So go check that out if you haven't. But welcome back, Anna.
Yes. I'm happy to be back. I'm ready. I'm ready to rant about all these theories.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them.
Yeah, we came up with the idea for this after filming that episode, actually, because we just kept talking for a half hour and realized, oh, we should make a whole episode on this.
We talked for a while. We were like, we should have been filming this. So we're back to do it now.
And this time we're recording.
So, Anna, how do you feel being back?
I feel excited to be back.
That's good.
It's good. I matched the aesthetic this time.
Yes.
I went out specifically and bought a pink light just to do this.
I love that. Yeah, like Gabby said, we're going to talk about, and by the title of this episode, most likely, the fact that TikTok is the new Tumblr. So we got a lot to cover. I don't even know where to start.
Well, I think a good thing to start is we started talking about it last time because I had just seen a TikTok that day where someone was explaining how TikTok was going through the same trends that Tumblr went through back in the early 2000s, 2010s, when we all were like, when it was in its prime.
Right.
And it really has.
Absolutely. Like, I think that, the three of us were all on Tumblr. I think we were all kind of on different sides of it. There were sides.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was one of those social medias that really catered to like content for you versus like at the time, like maybe Instagram or Facebook was popular. Those were everybody's things. So you were seeing like a culmination of like everybody's stuff. So it wasn't really like, I mean, you had like the Instagram Explore page, but they would still put stuff in there that wasn't like necessarily, exactly what you were looking for versus
I
on
don't think the
Tumblr.
Explore page even existed back when, at least when I first got onto Tumblr.
No, on Instagram. On Instagram.
No, yeah. Oh, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Instagram Explore page.
Yeah, I think that's like in the past like 5 years, I think.
No, because you could like, I mean, okay, yeah. I don't know if the Explore page necessarily, but you could like search tags and look through them like in that same area. So that's what that's kind of what I meant. But like
yeah,
Tumblr
definitely
were curated for you.
Yeah, definitely compared to like Twitter and Facebook, which were the two like big competitors for Tumblr at the time, where you were seeing everything that was catering to your friends and you. Whereas Tumblr, you didn't know the people you were following on Tumblr. You might have known your friends, but you might have followed your friends on it.
I think that's also similar to Twitter. Like some parts of Tumblr where like you had like the weird parts of Twitter too, where you were in these groups that you didn't necessarily know who these people were because they were kind of like some were fake photos, some were real photos, and that could easily have been the same thing on Tumblr. It's like the emo side of Tumblr was notorious for that.
I've been on Twitter for I think like 9 years, and I like never really, I never really used it when it first came out, and Twitter hasn't become like a big thing until like recently, the last few years, that people were really like using it and stuff. And I think ever since they got like the feature that you can see other people's likes and retweets, that really like changed the game. But yeah, I don't know. Twitter was kind of that place where it was kind of like a dead social media for a while, right in the beginning.
Yeah, it was a lot more private.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's because it was the place where you posted your short, odd thoughts that you wouldn't put as a caption on Instagram. You wouldn't want your family to see it on Facebook.
Right.
And then, I mean, Tumblr, most people back when it first started, like it was a blog, so you kept it to an aesthetic.
Right.
And that was for like Twitter, you were what was the character limit? 140?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, something like
like you
that.
could barely write anything on there.
Right. So it was, I don't know. It didn't have as many uses as it does now.
Right, totally.
And plus, a lot of people use it to keep up on like celebrities and
News.
influencers, and those are just things that people didn't really
Care
care that
about.
much about back then. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gabby, you were on emo side of Tumblr.
Yeah, I was on like the emo, depression, ED, but then also like weed and pop punk side of Tumblr. It was a very like weird niche that was like super toxic, but it was easy to fall into and like want to stay into once you were in it.
Yeah.
It was a very like competitive like space.
It was like, I mean, when I first got onto Tumblr, I said that, I was kind of on that like emo side too, where you're posting like all this sad, like black and white photos and like the word posts about like, oh my God,
Mhm.
or whatever. And you kind of just did it for the aesthetic. And I got bored of it. So I moved on from that. But I know a lot of people were influenced by a lot of things on Tumblr.
Oh my God, for sure. And especially because there were like certain parts of Tumblr, like either in the comment section or like kind of like group areas or messages or whatever, that was like kind of praising you for doing these really harmful things. Or like if you weren't doing certain like I don't know, am I allowed to like I'll just like use like blanket term, like if you were to like starve yourself for like a few days, you would get like a lot of praise and like a lot of like positive attention from that. And so you would like comment that or like post it or something, and then it would like give you like a fucked up motivation to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And like because you want like this positivity from like hundreds of strangers on the internet in this one space.
Right.
It's really fucked.
It was like messed up. And I think why, that's like one of the big things that you notice on TikTok now. So TikTok is another one of those like curated places. I'm sure everyone's on TikTok at this point, like except like, I don't even know who. But you know that once you're on TikTok for a minute and you like one video, you're gonna see 20 more. It's like like a hydra. Like you cut off one head to grow back in its place,
Mhm.
and you just if you're liking something about, like an eating disorder post or something, you're gonna get more about it. So it's like the more you see that or you saw that on your like Tumblr feed, the more you'd like really dive into it.
Yeah, and also like the softcore body checking that's going on TikTok like isn't cute. And it's like you see that in like YouTube videos now too. I'm not gonna say her name because that gets people's videos like taken down, but like yeah, even on TikTok. I think it's more on TikTok because it's a video platform. You can see like someone like moves to the side a certain way or does like the arm thing, and it's like people that have like are dealing with it or like been through it or like you need to stop, and they keep going because they get so much attention from it.
So are we going to talk about the body positivity movement? Because I feel like we should. And I know that's going to get some, I mean,
I mean,
some,
it's one of those things where it's like, sure, there's two sides to it, everything nowadays, there's two sides to like every major con- confliction. I don't know if that was the right word I'm trying to think of, but I mean,
yeah,
I've seen so many
right.
body positivity videos going both ways.
Yeah, I think that so the body positivity movement, I don't know, it's been going on for a few years that like, you don't have to be skinny to, like be beautiful or whatever, or have like a nice body. And also like beauty standards have definitely changed where, like big ass, like, the Kim Kardashian era, like Kylie Jenner with the fake ass and the tiny, tiny waist. And it's like, no matter what though, like that same figure keeps like coming back, like the tiny, tiny waist and the little legs and the long limbs and whatever. And I don't think there's anything wrong with people being happy about how they look and how they're presenting themselves. They wear what they want, they do what they want, they're not worried about other people's agendas or perceptions of them. But when you're on TikTok and you notice these body positive like people, and I'm not talking about like the real ones like that actually look like how most people look. It's the girls that are like very skinny and they sit and they do those little trends where they're like, this is what my body looks like this and like this. And it's like nothing really changes. That just like rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, that's like a form of body checking too. That is like maybe a tiny little bit of like stomach fat comes out, but like nothing significant. It's also the skinny people like what I eat in a day thing
Mm-hmm.
is or like come have a meal with me is starting to get so like forced. Like you can tell it's not genuine after a certain point because they just want to get like the likes for something.
Right.
And it's
And
not
I
because
mean,
they
like,
care.
social media does that. They regurgitate things and everyone grasps onto things until it gets to a point where nothing is genuine. Like, nothing feels real. Like, who I think, and this might be controversial, is the only like eating videos that I see that feel like authentic are Trisha Paytas's,
No,
you
straight
know?
up no. Yeah, like she's not like bullshitting it. She's like from like what does she call it? Like a big girl that doesn't want to get skinny and she's like eating like
Right. Or
healthy
doesn't
food.
want to lose weight. And
Oh, because
Oh,
she's eating like a realistic combo of like healthy food and then unhealthy food. Like it's not like pretending to be a certain way for the camera.
right.
Lizzo does the same thing. Like I follow
Oh,
Lizzo on
yeah.
TikTok, and
Oh my God. Okay. So we definitely are like, we've planned to, or we talked about how we are going to talk about these certain TikToks that we've seen on
Mhm.
TikTok on the platform that um are just like so problematic for people to be even like speaking about it. And one of them is, I don't know if Gabby, you sent it to me or we just saw it at the same time or something. I don't know, but we talked about it. And it was that video of the girl that was like, people need to stop commenting on Lizzo's post or posts. Since no one said it, I will, and then puts the little hourglass emoji. And this girl was going on this rant about how she was saying how Lizzo's not an hourglass. Like, not everybody needs to be an hourglass figure. Stop commenting on her post. She's not that. She's more of an apple shape, like whatever. And okay, like, you
wait, I'm
know,
confused. What are people Are they commenting an hourglass onto her
yeah, so they're
post?
like saying,
Oh,
because they're like trying to hype her up and be like, since no one said it, like I will, like you look like you have an hourglass figure, like you're looking snatched, you're looking good.
mm-hmm.
But and then this girl made the argument like, oh, not everybody needs to be an hourglass shape. And okay, I totally agree. Like, I totally get it. Not everybody needs to be an hourglass shape. Like, that is just the societal norm that, or the beauty standard that we strive to be, because that's what we are told.
That's been
But
like that for years, like decades.
forever,
Look back
forever.
into like Victorian, or not Victorian, just history where they had the corsets that made their boobs pop out and their
Right.
waist
That
snatched.
and
Yeah.
and
Like
there's
it's
nothing wrong with looking hourglass. There's
no.
nothing wrong with not looking hourglass. But I'm sure that Lizzo saw that comment and probably thought, like, oh, that's kind of cool, because like somebody is just equating her with a beauty standard, It's not that she doesn't have that figure. It's just like that's like kind of a nice thing to say to someone. Like, that gets your ego going. Like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, okay, like, yeah.
Right.
But like, whose business of yours to have to make a TikTok about that and be like, stop doing that to Liz? Like, if
That's
Lizzo didn't
also
like it, she would have said something.
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's literally another issue I have with this kind of thing is like people speaking on behalf of celebrities, influencers on the sorts, and you see it freaking everywhere. It's on every social media. These people are adults. They can they can handle themselves. They
Right.
don't need their
Yeah.
fans dictating
Absolutely.
what goes on in the world about them.
Yeah. And it's like that just causes like this whole like toxic community on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder why influencers or celebrities like have problems all the time, or they're, because not only are they in the public light and everything is, you know, being talked about them, but then they have this, like, people just out and putting their opinions everywhere about
Right.
them when it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back to that girl you said posted the TikTok, like I kind of like you said, I totally agree. Like it was probably really nice for Lizzo to see that and be equated with a beauty standard. But
Right.
also, why can't the Apple figure or whatever also be a beauty standard?
Right. It's
Yeah.
because we as a society like are not ready to accept anybody over like a size 5.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird on TikTok how like over the past year people are now accepting that like bigger people exist and can be beautiful. Like we
And that
been knew.
and that's totally because like TikTok has become a place where a social media platform where people can get big, or like not big, but like, like popular or whatever from kind of nothing. Like you get one viral video and you can get thousands of, followers or whatever. And so you see more people that look regular instead of those people on Instagram who are, putting their like bodies on display as a way to be like, um, oh, this is what everybody wants to look like. We're popular because we look like this.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And those images are also fake because they're photoshopped or face tuned or whatever.
Everything is photoshopped.
Or they're
Everything is
sucking in a
face.
ton. Like
Right.
no one's looking at like your ribs or some shit in like main daylight. Everyone sucks in for their photos.
Right.
Like
And also like, certain camera angles can make you look worse than you are. So of
yeah.
course you're going to be like, well, I don't think I look like that. And that might just be body dysmorphia, but like you're like, I don't look like that. I need to make sure the picture like represents how I think I look. So of course you're going to like face tune it a little bit, but
Right. And like there's other things. This is a big one that I've especially learned. Even when I see people on TikTok that are the same body shape as me and they're great, they're rocking it, I can't help myself but look for like to see if they have like the like acne marks, the what are they called? The stretch marks and all of those other things that I know I have that you know what? The camera doesn't even pick it up.
Mhm.
right. No, of course
Like
not.
I know I have like makeup on right now, but usually it doesn't like the way I put my makeup on, it doesn't usually cover all the red spots. But you couldn't tell right now
Right.
on my face looking at it.
Everything is fake.
No,
Right.
actually though.
Like, I mean, that's why, Tumblr was that like starting off point where you could kind of be whoever you wanted to be. People posted pictures of girls that weren't themselves, and you didn't know if that was who you were following or not. You didn't know
Mhm.
if that's what they looked like or if they were just posting someone else's photo. Um, so it's like that's kind of where we learn to be fake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean everything on Tumblr. I mean, I wasn't on the same side of Tumblr as you guys. I was on the like Mimi fandom side, like
Mimi.
Mimi,
Screaming memes.
Oh god.
like just trash post jokes. I saw that do you like the color of the sky post
A
all the
million. I
time.
saw that the other day. I
It always still goes
logged
around.
I logged onto Tumblr, and it's like the first time I saw it in years, and I was like, I gotta get off.
It was you probably saw it off of mine.
No, did you reblog it? No, Anna.
There was an I don't know which one you might have saw, but well I started my blog over like 3 times, so I didn't have it on my new one. So I was like,
Mm.
this is history. I
I've
need it
never
on
had
the
it on
new
mine.
blog.
That's so funny.
But there was an April Fool's one posted that I also
Oh,
so I don't know which one you
I
saw,
didn't
but
even
I'm
look at it.
sorry that
So
I ruined your Tumblr experience for that day.
I was also on the fandom side of Tumblr, but also that was problematic in and of itself. I loved being on fandom Tumblr. Like we've talked about in previous episodes, like I love my TV shows, I love my movies, I love my little fanfics. No, so I was on that side of Tumblr, and there are problematic things, and we can touch on that in a second, but I loved it because I could post my rants, I could post my things about my shows, go back and like see what other people were saying. And in that same way, like I kind of got away from Tumblr, but TikTok kind of became that. Like, right now I'm on Bucky Barnes TikTok because of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and, loving that show. So I see a lot of that. And I kind of get that same like source of stuff on my For You page. And then I can make, my TikToks the way I would have made like my posts back in the day. So like they're so similar to each other. But also, you can still see the same patterns of people being so problematic about celebrities, about couples, about like ships, about like any of that kind of thing.
Yeah, like ship culture on Tumblr for me and like fandom shit. I was rarely on it. If anything, I was on like Sherlock for like a minute, but it was mainly like Skins or American Horror Story or like that kind of shit. But
The
I
emo shit.
hated the emo shit. I hated whenever someone over like would make two like presumably like straight men into a gay couple and then fetishize it was like the grossest thing. Like that was so exhausting because why are you fetishizing?
So we've talked about this before, and I'd like to not on the podcast, just in real life.
Yeah.
But I'd like
In
Anna's
real life, the podcast isn't real.
uh, Anna's take on it. But yeah, we've had this conversation, you and I, because I, loved my little ships and whatnot. And my argument for that, on a surface level, is a lot of the times the argument for that is that the way shows write gay characters or gay ships or anything like that um, is usually more like I want to say more interesting or more thought out than like a straight ship would be, like just a dude and a guy. And I even saw a tweet about it today that was like, which I want to highlight, that it said enemies to lovers plotline only works with gay characters. If you wanted a straight plotline, go downstairs. As in like your parents are just, and then someone goes, that's lovers to enemies, sweetheart. But no, my argument is that they're like more thought out like relationships because of the fact that they have a lot of pressure to make sure that they're good because of the lack of representation in the LGBTQ community. And since so many like LGBTQ people were on Tumblr, they just wanted any source of like representation that they could get. And at least that's what I was seeing. So they, attach themselves to those like ships. But on that same hand, there were people that would take any straight, male character with another straight male character anytime they had any ounce of like bromance or, any sort of tension, if it was just like the way one scene played out, and they run with it. And that becomes problematic because then that becomes like fetishizing, how do you say that word?
Fetishizing.
There you go. Like gay characters. But then they won't but it was like mostly male. They would never do that with two girls.
Yeah, no. Which is also weird.
And then there would always be the posts that were like, I hate straight ship. Like I hate straight characters. They get me away from, and it was like, you can't just like gay characters. Like you have to, appreciate when there's all of them, like you
Well, a
can't.
big thing that plays into that is it's toxic masculinity. People aren't used to seeing male characters share emotions with each other.
That's another
And
thing.
so
Yeah,
it
for sure.
becomes a speculation. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but I'm going to run with it for people. Like, this is something they're not used to, and they like seeing it.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to let you finish your thought before.
No, I was kind of done, but
Okay.
but then there's also like the whole argument of whether or not, was this were these two characters being queer baited to the audience as a sake of trying to get representation in their media without actually doing it, which is kind of a case with Marvel sometimes? Or is it just people are fetishizing it so much that they want to call it queer baiting to make an excuse for it? That's a rhetorical question, so nobody has to answer that.
No, but it's a very prominent one. I've been on fandom Tumblr like since I joined, I don't know, whenever I was in 7th grade. So 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And these things happen all the time in every fandom like I've been in. And I saw a Tumblr post that was like, rule 34, if it exists on the internet, there's porn of it.
I mean,
So
it's not everything.
well, exactly.
If you can think it, then there's probably like porn for it.
That no, that's it.
Yeah.
So shipping, I've seen a lot of rules going around on shipping, and it goes for like, if it's a cartoon, if it's an anime, these aren't real people, then it's kind of the same thing when people reimagine a big thing like the Harry Potter characters, like Hermione as a person of color. She's not a real character. So, like,
right, you are fully able to, perceive Hermione as a person of color, like if you want to.
right.
Yeah.
And so when people take these characters and start putting them in different relationships, I mean, they're not real people. That
Right.
Like all these things, like shipping becomes, there's a lot more rules to it when you're dealing with real people. And generally, the biggest rule is try and avoid shipping real people, because once you start doing that, you start
Absolutely.
speculating about their sexuality and you're perceiving, and you're crossing so many boundaries with like their personal lives. Like you can make theories based on the information they give you and what you see, but like don't like go overboard with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that just made me think about because Gabby, you were watching compilations of Glee earlier, and Kurt and Blaine were those characters and that ship that I think a lot of people really attached themselves to very quickly, because it was one of the first gay like couples in like a regular show on TV. But they took it too far and they started shipping, the actors, Chris Colfer and Darren Criss, and to the point that like anytime they would go out, like hanging out together, it would be like speculative. Like anytime they'd be in an interview, that's all people would ask them about. And they kind of like lost out on their like friendship because they distanced themselves from each other because of, that toxic shit that people would do. And they do it now on TikTok too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to you earlier about this, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
When I said that a lot of TikTok are Twitter and Tumblr posts verbalized.
If they're not literal pictures of tweets or posts.
Yeah. Like,
and
people are having these same ideas.
And I think when they do that, it kind of allows for the tone of the post to like come out more clearly, which is I think why it's such like a popular thing to do.
Well, it allows them to, verbalizing text allows you to put different intonations, and that allows people to reflect their opinions of what the text said,
right,
what they're saying.
I just want to know if Gabby, if you had anything you wanted to add to what we were talking about before.
I don't think I really have anything to add to that at the moment, or that I can think of at the moment anyway.
Okay. So Anna, you want to
Yeah. So keeping with our theme of TikTok is the new Tumblr, I saw this TikTok on my For You page the other day, and it is a video that someone stitched. And so the first part of the video is someone is painting black dots on the base of their nails, and they're talking about things saying Like, we should all paint black dots on the base of our nails. So when we go out in public and you see this, you can know that, like, hey, you're on TikTok too. And then the person who stitched it just uttered the simple phrase, I like your shoelaces. And if you were on Tumblr when we were, or even still now, I think it's going around, you would know that phrase. Like, it's such a popular post. I think it's another one of those posts that's broken. Like, there's no notes on it.
Yeah.
Because it's just been liked and reblogged so many times. Talking about, like, if you want someone to know you're on Tumblr, you go up to them and you go, I like your shoelaces.
Right.
Right, yeah.
So it's just a whole new trend repeating itself.
I know. History repeats itself.
I could like I don't know why, but the only thing I could think of when you said like the painting dots on fingernails is seeing like thinking about the like more adult men that are gonna do that too. I don't know why that's where I went with it, but in my head I'm like Tumblr was problematic because of the age of the men talking to like influencing these young girls that looked up to them and all this shit. Now I'm like, these old men are gonna try to hop on this trend too, and I'm
Of
not
course.
not
Because
here.
men try to be like hip about like things on social media to like lure people in.
They try to be hip about being creepy.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, that's every website.
Honestly.
Oh, for sure.
Or just like men faking to be like somebody else or being younger or whatever. But that's like always been a thing. But I feel like it's less talked about, but people still need to like be aware of it because now kids are growing up with social media and growing up like being in these like spaces and forums and shit. And they don't know.
Right. Oh, this is a
Stranger
great time for
danger.
this PSA. Don't go on Omegle. Stay
Oh
away.
my God.
I've seen
Yeah.
so many people. I've seen it throughout Tumblr. I see people on TikTok doing now. Stay off of Omegle. It is creepy. They are creeps.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to start recording you to post it on porn websites or whatever.
And the thing is now, I'm sure
But
it was
if you're gonna post me on a porn website, like I better get my check. You know? Like cut me
If
my
you're not a
check.
minor, if you're a minor, you should probably report that person.
Yeah, and they're
Oh,
probably only
no.
recording minors in the first place. But yeah, also they can track your location on Omegle now. Like there's ways to find where you are.
Stranger danger, my guys.
Omegle
Yeah.
is not a good website.
I used to go on
Stay
it
off of
so
it.
much as a kid. It was so bad. Or we like me and my friends would do it and then we just see so many dicks.
Penises.
Peni.
Peni.
Peanut. It would either be like a 40-year-old man with his dick to the camera or like a kid in like a teenager in bed just like
I took the warnings against going on Omegle very seriously.
you were smart.
I had two friends who would go on it, and they would go on it when they were at my house or whatever. But I did try it once, but then I was like, this is stupid.
It's like trying drugs once.
It's terrifying.
You're like, no.
Just it's not worth
yeah, it's a
it.
bad idea. Don't talk to strangers on the internet.
Yeah, don't go on Omegle or Chat Roulette or whatever. There's probably another site that I don't know what it is, but
The only acceptable thing that was going on Omegle was when people would put their like preference as Republicans and then they would like tell them to vote for Joe Biden.
oh my God, but this connects to TikTok because celebrities or like celebrities, TikTok celebrities would have people search their name on Omegle to possibly be able to meet them and talk to them. And then record it,
Yeah.
and that's what got people to go back on Omegle when it's like not a safe website.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
For me, some of the YouTubers that I watch, like it got out that they would sometimes go around and like their little communities, like and go on Omegle just to see if they would find their fans or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody, I'm like one of the older people in this fandom, like so a lot of them are like 12 to 15, so definitely not old enough to be on Omegle, and they were like rushing towards it to just get a chance to talk to these YouTubers. And it's like,
Ew.
that's not safe.
That's like the
sure,
same as like what Shane Dawson was doing when he was asking people to get on like chat rooms with him and then show them his
Twerk for
like,
him.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Austin Jones can get arrested for that, but Shane Dawson can't. Well, okay, never
Well,
mind. Austin Jones did
is
more.
in,
Never mind.
yeah, Austin Jones was in possession of like actual child porn, so.
Yeah. Well, that was it. He would.
Right, because they were
that.
like getting naked on camera.
Yeah, I'm sure Shane. No, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to get canceled off the internet by Shane. Not that he has power anymore, but
Shane
whatever.
Dawson isn't going to listen to this.
No. I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if Shane did the same thing. Just people didn't talk about it because he was very forceful in that
He
clip.
literally admitted to looking up child porn, so.
I mean, yeah, in
And
his
he can say,
podcast,
"Oh, that's a joke. That's a joke." Like,
it
no.
wasn't a joke. It didn't sound like a joke.
Yeah.
Even if it was said in a joking manner,
You
that's not
don't
something
joke
you
about
joke
those
about that.
things.
Exactly.
Why is everybody would joke about those things if it was normal? Like,
It's
no
the
one
dark
jokes about
humor.
those things.
It's like saying it's dark humor. It's like, no, that's like
No.
actually fucked up.
There's dark humor and then there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
There's dark humor and then there's Shane Dawson who's saying it's dark humor, but in reality it's just who he is as a person.
right.
Oops.
Yeah, Shane Dawson deserved his cancellation.
Oh my god, yeah.
So,
Without a doubt.
I feel like we should have recorded our last session because like I remember making some intellectual points and now I'm just like
Blank.
what are words?
well, I mean, okay, so what did we talk about last time? We talked about I mean, the whole thing with like TikTokers being like social justice warriors.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know,
Well, yeah, I think that got me into this other thing I've been thinking about. Sorry to just steal this away again.
Go for it.
I was thinking about how it feels like TikTok being the new Tumblr, and then every social media is just going through these cycles of the same conversations. And it feels like when you get older and you've been on a website or social media for so long, you keep hearing the same arguments. And then when you think about it, it's when the new generations come onto the websites. And like, that's weird for me to say because, you know, we're part of the generation, like, we were what, 5-6 years old when computers were put in. Facebook didn't come around until I was
2007,
14, I think.
2009.
Whoa.
Yeah, like we were in middle school when Facebook was invented, and then around that
I used to be on AIM with my friends.
Yeah.
And that was like the closest thing we had to social media back in the day. Or I mean, we were not the generation to be on MySpace, but MySpace was also the first social media until Facebook.
And like my whole point to this is we're hearing these same conversations again because there's new rounds of people entering the internet that need to hear it, that need to have these discussions and learn these lessons.
Yeah.
And then you have all these other people, like the social justice warriors, that are taking it upon themselves to be the educators and like kind of forcing,
especially when it's not their place to do so.
Yeah, and just forcing their opinions and their thoughts into these places when these lessons actually are best learned, you know, naturally, fluidly, like as they come up, you learn and then you carry on.
Right.
Yeah, because they're just using their own opinions as fact, which is what will get people to believe their opinion when in reality it's not always going to be that. For like every situation, it's also everything's not black and white.
Yeah, there was something that I said last time that people are so quick to put people in boxes and like groups and be only in that group and never branch out or accept that maybe what they are choosing for that is not correct. Like one example is I saw this TikTok and I think I sent it to you, Gabby, was this girl, and she was wearing like an oversized t-shirt and some baggy jeans, and and like her jeans were cuffed, and then she had like a beanie on. And she said, me as a very straight girl going to hang out with my boyfriend. And this other person, I don't know who they were, decided to stitch it and say that they were appropriating bi culture. First
When
off,
the point of the video seemed to be that that person is bi or
yeah, but
gay or something.
maybe, there's some repressed, sexuality in there. Maybe they're closeted. Maybe they don't know that they are bi yet. Like, why are you deciding just because they said very straight and like, capital letters that that's actually what they mean?
Yeah.
And this person was like, you're appropriating bi culture. And I just think that's ridiculous. And this might get, some different opinions, but I'm going to speak my thinking truth. That, first off, you don't know them. Second, bi culture isn't really a thing when it comes to the clothes you wear, just because TikTok has now decided that the way you dress determines your sexuality.
Yeah, like I think there could be like some mini identifiers, but it really TikTok really has put like sexuality groups in like a bubble of, oh, if they're wearing Doc Martens, they're gay. If they cuff their jeans, they're gay.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, some people are
I
short.
wear I wear I wear Doc Martens. My jeans are too long. Like, what do you want from me? Like,
I'm bi, so it doesn't
maybe,
count for me, but
maybe we're all, sure, maybe we're all a little gay, but like,
And I think it's kind of harmful in a way to claim that stuff as cultural appropriation because it takes away, like when you're doing it, I don't know how I want to word this. So there, the LGBTQ plus A is definitely a community. They're definitely a
they
minority.
are a community.
I don't, please, I did not mean it in that way. I mean, they are a community. I don't know if they can claim it as a culture.
I don't know if they can either.
I could,
What do you think,
like,
Gabby? You're part of it.
I don't know. I
Is
don't want to speak for the gay community,
right.
but I think there is some sort of culture in the gay community, but it's not the same thing as like a locational culture.
I don't think that gay can be culturally appropriated though,
No.
which
Yeah. That's,
seems
I
to
think
be an argument on TikTok a lot now.
I think there are
yeah.
definitely stereotypes for gay people that are out there, but I don't think
Stereotypes are like a completely different thing though.
That's what I was trying to get at. Like, I don't think, because there's so many different ways to represent being gay, being bisexual, that when you claim something as part of a culture, that like you're claiming like that outfit, you're claiming that as part of that culture when you're actually playing into a stereotype of being bisexual. Whereas you take, I just lost all sorts of words, like an actual cultural garment from any other
Right, you're
culture,
right.
and like
It's
there's a
not this
difference.
cuffing your jeans isn't the same as a white girl wearing box braids.
yeah, no.
Like it's not the
Right.
same as, walking around in someone's, specific things that like fashion. I've said this before, we've said this before, and I think it needs to be said more, is not the same as gender identity. Fashion or the way you dress can express your gender identity, it can express your personality, but clothes and trends of style and everything like that does not equate, being bi or being gay or being non-binary or anything like that.
I think the distinction that needs to be made there is that when you are using clothes to express your gender and your sexuality and your what you want to express, that is solely for you.
Right.
You are not representing a group of people. You really shouldn't put yourself as a representation for a whole group of people. And like, so to try and call someone out on appropriating like a form of a form of expression, that's not appropriation.
Absolutely.
It's a form of expression for a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me, like, I just remembered one of my deeper thoughts from last time when you were talking about how people push to label and have like distinct meaning for these labels, and how that's just not how life works. Like,
Yeah,
life is
micro-labeling
complex.
was like born on
And
Tumblr.
I get the need to
Yeah.
label, like, there's a huge thing for it because it labels help your mind organize the world. Like, that is just science.
Woke,
It's a
Anna.
thing everybody does. I took that quote from someone, don't know who said it to me, but I think about it a lot.
I think I heard something like that in a Seth Rogoff psychology class, was that
Yeah,
the brain needs to categorize stuff because it's scared of not knowing something.
Interesting.
Not knowing where
I
something
think I took it either from him or Sunati. So when you have these social justice warriors pushing for such distinct labels and definitions for things, and you can be this, you can't be this, that can't be that, like, this isn't how you should represent things, this is how it needs to be represented, you're really just pushing more harmful stereotypes into the world, and you're really causing more stress for yourself, for everybody around you. You're causing anger and grief because that's simply just not how the world works.
Yeah, I mean, I have an experience with that with the kid from when I was like, oh, I identify as
Deepest
queer.
name in here.
Fine. When I identify as queer in my sexuality, because like I'll say like, oh yeah, I'm bi, but in my mind I'm like, but I don't know like what that means fully either. I just like
Right. There's a
people.
whole debate going on TikTok also about bi versus pan, and people don't want to say that they're bisexual because then it proves the binary or whatever, or plays into the binary, but then they don't want to say pansexual because blah 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 blah. And I'm just like,
Yeah, because
that's
before
something you got to figure
people,
out on your own.
yeah, because people would equate bisexuality with just like the cisgender norms and excluding like trans women or trans men as just being like women and men. Like,
I saw a
which
thing
is
that
problematic.
was like, bisexuality is not saying that you're only attracted to the two genders. It's just two genders
Mhm.
out of however many there are.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, the whole micro labeling, the whole wanting to fit yourself into a box, that definitely started on Tumblr and has moved its way onto TikTok. And like, again, you know, the way people dress, the way people are supposed to act if they're one way or another, the way that if there is someone that presents as like femme but don't identify as, you know, female, like people think that that's like wrong or something.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing that's contradictory to say, but you can label yourself. You can
Sure,
put
yeah.
labels on yourself and things if that's what you need in order to be able to properly self express. It's when people are forcing their definitions of these labels as the absolute truth that it goes wrong. So you
Right.
can use labels. It's just sometimes you might have to explain what your label means.
Right. And why are you, as just some random person on TikTok, determining what the entire community of like gay people are, you know, like you're the one that's deciding for everyone what it's going to be because that's your opinion of something? Like, that's not how that works.
Right.
Yeah. And that goes into like what I brought up before is why I said I like identify as queer, because this man was telling me like, well, queer actually was like a word used to like be against gay people or hurt gay people. I'm like, yes, it's a reclamation of the word. I'm sure there's people that still use it as like a hateful way, but like he took it as like I don't know what he thought I took it as.
Like you
I
can
was
use
like,
anything like that as a hurtful way for sure too. Not that that's the same conversation, but like
wait, what?
people will always find something to use as a hurtful term no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
You can use the word straight in a hurtful way and it will piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, fuck them
The
straights.
straighties.
At this point, I feel like you can use the word straight in a not hurtful way and people would still get tense and pissed off.
Get out of here,
Mhm.
roundies.
Why?
This is a metaphor for racism.
You still need to see Promising Young Woman, both of you. It is
I'll watch
very
it.
good.
Okay.
I have
It
no
is
clue
worth
what that
it.
is.
Anna's not gonna watch it. Anna doesn't watch movies.
Oh, true. It's good.
You can tell me about it and I'll listen
It's not.
wholeheartedly.
It's
Yeah, don't
nominated
tell.
for like 5 Oscars, I think, right now.
Nice.
Oh shit.
I've got my mind on one path right now. Once it stops, I'll be able to.
Here, I'll look it up on
Somewhere else.
Wikipedia and read the plot.
I'll watch it. I will. I promise. But
Schmidt from New Girl is in it,
nice.
Ooh.
if that lures you in.
I saw this thing about how Schmidt's dad on New Girl was Catherine Gallagher's father, right?
Yeah.
He played by him, but also I guess there was a movie that Catherine Gallagher's father was in that Schmidt played his younger self. Like, so they like brought him
That's so
as his
funny.
dad for that purpose. I think it's so
That's
funny because
so
they look
funny.
so similar.
Yeah.
I'm honored that you let me be on the finale.
We're honored that you wanted to be on the finale.
I want to be on any episode that you want me on.
Where are we going from here, buddies?
I think it's going off of telling people what they can't do, who they can and can't be, is a good segue into a TikTok that we talked about a while ago. Well, like us personally. Was this TikTok we all saw about Demi Lovato's video for Dancing with the Devil, and how she portrayed her overdose. And this person who was a recovered addict made a video or made a stitch to the video that was like, this shouldn't be made. You're glorifying it. She's just using her platform to get attention about her addiction, her eating disorder, like all of the shit. Like, don't like, you shouldn't be even making this. But like at the end of the day, if you're gonna be upset by it, there's also a trigger warning in the beginning of the video. There's a whole ass paragraph that's like, it contains this, this, and this. If it's sensitive for you, don't watch it.
Yeah, that's like a really easy thing to do is like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. If it's not something you want to see, then don't do it. Like whatever. And I think that relates to a lot of things in life is, if this isn't hurting you, then don't, bother doing it or whatever,
Yeah,
And
and
it's
she's
just the
allowed.
same.
Yeah, like she's allowed to express what she went through. That was very traumatic. She almost died any way that she wants to. And
Right.
most people that portray that don't even put a trigger warning on their stuff. You just watch it and you're like,
I think that's another thing on TikTok that on top of that is this whole like, oh, you're glorifying this, you're glorifying that by just talking about it or expressing it in a way that you feel comfortable in. I think that like, we all went to art school and ew. And I think a lot of the time that you were almost expected to make work surrounding your trauma and your traumatic experiences. And you were like taught to kind of use it when you didn't need to. But that doesn't mean that you can't use it as like a way of like healing and stuff that like Demi Lovato did.
yeah.
Like if that's her way of coping with what she experienced, she is able to. And that's almost like, and I get if she never was a drug addict, if she was just, if she wasn't a drug addict, and if she didn't have those experiences, then she was making a video like that, then it would be problematic. Then it would be glorifying it because she doesn't have those experiences to back that up. However, she does have those experiences. And that's like saying that anytime someone makes any sort of art or content about a traumatic experience in the way that they depict it in their own mind and want to put it out into the world for themselves, that it equates glorifying and that it's a problem and that you shouldn't be showing that to young kids because that's going to make them want to do heroin. That's what this person was arguing.
Yeah,
That
and
like,
it's not for kids at all. Like no child is gonna, but also if a child watches it, they're not going to understand what's happening.
right.
Like most
Mhm.
likely,
Not in the
unless
same way,
they've
right.
dealt with it like personally. But like,
Mhm. And it's like, sure, you have overdosed and you have like, gone through that traumatic experience yourself and you choose to deal with that the way you are capable of. But you can't tell someone else how they can. And just because she's in the public eye, like the public eye and being a certain way for everyone and being the spokesperson for bipolar disease and eating disorders and drug addiction was the reason like it led her back to drugs in the first place.
yeah, the amount of pressure to like be this perfect person, but also like being reminded every day that you're sick is so it must like fuck you up.
Yeah, and so to like tell that person that once they're healing and doing things on their own terms that it's wrong is like just grinds my gears.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's another thing. Like, I'm bringing it back to this. Like, so much pressure is put onto celebrities to be spokespeople. Yeah, for all these different topics that they either do or do not have experience with. And this whole thing with Demi Lovato, like she was making a video personal to her. I think one of you told me she didn't even like wasn't even going to include that scene
Yeah, there
in the
was like a
music
really
video.
like a scene of her like screaming and like crying in the bed and like ripping things out and whatever and like having this like kind of fit was like not included.
So the big issue here, well, there's a lot of big issues, but what I'm thinking is that person just automatically assumed that Demi was trying to be a spokesperson for a whole group of people when she was really just trying to express her own like
Trauma.
what you said, her own trauma.
And
Like
that like
she was
goes
trying
back
to
to the
speak
whole
for
idea.
herself.
That goes back to the whole idea that these people are expecting everybody to be determining what everything means for a whole group of people.
Mhm.
That because Demi went through, an overdose, that she is speaking on behalf of everyone that has been has been through an overdose, and that she is the spokesperson for it, and that what she's saying and what she's, exemplifying and like the things that she's putting out in is what everyone now is going to perceive as an
Right.
overdose.
Right. And that's just not the case. And like
Not at all.
that puts so much pressure on these people. Again, like this is an argument again that I've heard over Tumblr and it's happening again over TikTok, that your celebrities aren't perfect. They aren't robots. They aren't, they make mistakes. They're human. They don't know everything. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to represent everything. Like, for most cases, these people just wanted to act. Like, they just wanted to perform. They wanted to have fun. They
Right.
didn't want to be put into a place of being spokespeople. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad that there are a lot of celebrities that step into that role and use their privilege. I'm glad that there are celebrities who are willing to step into the role of being these representations of these groups and all these issues and using their privilege of having so many eyes on them and being able to spread word and awareness and use their wealth for good too. But it shouldn't just fall on the celebrities. And
Absolutely.
that's why you see so many people, fall from grace, to use that whatever term, because people put them on a high pedestal of being perfection, and then one wrong thing and they come crumbling down.
Mm-hmm. I
And
agree.
it's honestly not healthy for anybody involved.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of setting them up for failure. So when it happens, everyone's like, "Ooh, they fucked up." But it's like they're real people. They just have a lot of money. Like that's like the only difference between
Literally
us
though.
and them is they're rich as fuck. And also I think like for like Demi and what she talks about in like I guess the recent episode of her documentary was that she has this privilege that she's able to get the help that she needs
Yeah.
that not everyone can get, which is good that she acknowledges it because I'm sure if that happened or when that happens to like I'm just gonna say like regular people, they don't have the money to be able to pay for what she got to help her live most of the time,
Yep.
probably.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fucked up.
That is fucked up. And then it's also like fucked up in like a society where like you will only treat someone who's on the brink of death because they have money and not treat them because you want to like help them get better,
Yeah,
which is
that's
just a
just
moral
how we
dilemma.
live
But
in
that's
America.
America's health system
Yeah.
we love.
Yeah, we don't have to go down the rabbit hole of the American health system because we'd be
No.
here all day.
That could be a whole episode itself.
Honestly.
America, what are you
Why-
Fuck
doing?
America.
Why these three Americans hate America.
The
And
little
then somebody on
Trumpy
TikTok would be
hate
like, oh my God, like you are privileged little white girls. You should be happy. It's like, okay.
I mean, I was having this conversation with my sister yesterday. Like, you have to put yourself in perspective. We are privileged in some ways. We are also disprivileged in others. We have it better than some people. Some people have it better than us.
Right. And that never invalidates your own experiences either. I think that people are quick to say there are starving children in Africa. There are people that are going through this. There's this going on. You have it fine. Like absolutely. Like in the grand scheme of things, yeah, we have privilege in certain things. But you put us against a male in America, we're disprivileged in that way because of being little gals, like it just all becomes about perspective. We could talk about how much I have a crush on Sebastian Stan.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
Only if
think
you
that every episode, we haven't talked about my love for Charlie Gillespie in a while, but now he's taken the back burner.
Now he
Who
won't
would
come
have
on
seen
the
it coming?
podcast.
Maybe that will make him want to be on the podcast.
Oh, by not wanting him, he'll want to be on it
Yeah, it's
more.
like reverse psychology.
Playing hard to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The long
Sebastian
game.
Stan, my man. No. Yeah, we have talked about a lot. We kept on topic. We didn't diverge into weird things like prior episodes we have. But I think it's like an important thing to talk about. How much social media like influences you, on top of the fact that there are influencers being born.
Yeah. Something that I remember we talked about in the conversation that I just remembered was growing up a woman on Tumblr in an alt like the alt community being told that being femme is like wrong or basic, which goes back to just wanting to please men because it seems like that's what men like they want someone like different.
And I think that's the equivalent of the whole now it's the queer community or the LGBT community is being told those kind of things when before it was like just women.
Mm-hmm. And it's like in the like online community that I was a part of, a lot of the men that like were responding to girls like my age or like we were trying to please were men in like their late 20s, early 30s when we were 14 and 15 years old.
It's
and now all of
time
the
for some advice. It's time for the advice section of our podcast, which we haven't had ever, but we're about to.
But one final thought: those men, most of them have turned out to be pedophiles. So that we
Absolutely.
weren't aware of because we thought
Stay
like
away from men on the internet. First off, that's the first thing. You said
Rule
that
number
so
one.
condescendingly. You're like,
Rule:
But I
just
know
stay away
you
from
were.
men.
Yes,
Stay away
stay away
men.
from men on the
First
internet.
rule. Just
Second
men in
rule,
general.
advice to you listeners, dear listeners, is, stop living your lives for the sake of a male opinion. Stop doing everything for the sake of, men's validation of you or anyone's in that matter. And it's easier said than done, but like you need to do it because
Mhm.
men ain't shit. And, you should not be getting told on the internet from a man or whoever that the way you express yourself or the way you present yourself or do anything for yourself is for anybody but you. Thank you.
Mhm. No, facts. And it became much like the depressy side of Tumblr. It became like a competition to be like the most different from other girls, or like
I'm
I'm
not
special
like
because I
other
don't do
girls.
this. But the thing is the reason these men preyed upon like these kinds of girls is because they knew they were so insecure and trying so hard to be different that they could manipulate them
And
to
now a
like get
lot of
what they
people have
want.
issues with that shit.
Yep. Like,
At
There's
Gabby.
it's
there's a lot
it's
of
fine.
rules. Before a child gets on the internet, they should have to skim through an agreement on how to behave on the internet. I say skim because no one ever reads anything.
I think
You
it's
know,
I
in
think the
bold
men need
letters.
to I think
Stay
to
away from
skim.
men.
stay away from men, stay away from older people. If you're a minor, don't interact with non-minors because that is the case for both of you.
Yeah.
A lot of generally good above 18 people don't want to interact with minors on the internet because they don't
Unless
want to
you're
catch a case.
James Charles.
I said generally good people on the
Ooh.
internet.
Ooh,
I
we don't
said
have
We
time to
don't
get
have,
into
yeah, we
that.
don't have any
See?
time to discuss any more
Oh,
pedophiles.
he
I
needs to be
said
in jail. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
Jail.
He
Straight to
he
he
admi-
jail.
he admitted it online to being a pedophile. Like, why
was
throw?
desperate.
Yeah, because he
It's
was
not an
desperate for a
excuse.
man.
Stop being
There's no
desperate.
excuse.
Stop being desperate for men. Like men are not that important.
Like,
Being desperate for anybody.
it's just because
Absolutely.
he likes
Stop
the
being
power
desperate. People
trip.
that are desperate need to check themselves.
He also like bullied that kid that wouldn't show him his dick. He was like, "Oh, are you like insecure about it? Like you feel bad, blah blah blah." It's like,
Oh my god.
the
That's
fuck
not the
is
way
wrong
to
with
And then
bring
he
you?
was like, I don't want to go in the bathroom right now when my parents are asleep down the hall because I'm a literal child living at home with my parents.
And
Like,
he's like,
and James was like,
"What?"
that doesn't concern me. Go jack off in your bathroom to me.
Or in the Logan Paul video he was in, where he was like, "Well, this relationship isn't gonna work because you won't fly out to see me, not because you're." When he had to correct himself to say, "Senior in high school, they're still underage. They're 17, turning 18 most likely near the end or
Oh my
whatever."
God, we're
and
gonna get off.
Like,
let me tell you this, kids. 1 month
Kids.
until you're 18 still doesn't mean you're legal. You
Yeah,
are
mhm,
not
you.
legal until the day you turn 18.
at James Charles,
The
Yeah,
day
they are
you
not
literally.
turn
legal.
18.
You do not know what it's like to be an adult or be 18 until you're like 19.
And everybody
To
says
quote The
this.
Perks of Being a Wallflower,
Please
you
believe
don't really know
us.
what it's like to be 16 until you turn 17.
I get that
And I know
everybody
these
older
stories.
always says you don't know what it's like.
And
But
our
we,
pictures will become old photographs.
oh my God,
Photographs
But
become
we are
memories.
alive. I can see it. That one moment when you know you're not a sad story. You are alive. And you stand up and you see the lights on the buildings and everyone around you. And you're listening to that song and that drive with the people you love most in this world. And in that moment, I swear, we are
Are
infinite.
infinite. Da-na-na-na-na. And that's how we'll end the season. Da-na. David Bowie's Heroes.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know that by heart. And I think about that every time I ever think.
Yeah, maybe by this time James Charles will be arrested, who knows?
He will not. Absolutely not.
No, he's too rich to be
Someone.
arrested,
Oh, yeah.
which is
There's like
the
a million
harsh.
things that, is wrong with the internet, that's wrong with Tumblr, that's wrong with Twitter, that's wrong with TikTok. And we could talk about it all day, but when it comes to James Charles, that's a whole nother beast. That's just some illegal shit.
Yeah, that's some shit you need to be in jail, bub. But
But hey babe, can you go to jail, please?
when he said like to take some time off to realize like what I
It's
am,
called
and I thought he
therapy
was
for being a
I thought
pedophile.
no, when he said like taking time off to figure out like what I am or what's wrong with me, I thought he was gonna say pedophile, but instead he just said desperate, and my
When
heart
do
just sank.
pedophiles ever admit that they're pedophiles?
No, he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. I genuinely don't
Oof.
think he
Oh my
gets it,
God. My
but
gosh.
whatever. Well,
Okay,
Anyways,
well,
practice internet safety. Don't
yeah.
talk to people. Don't give out your information.
And just be
don't
you.
give out your home address.
Hey, Anna, what's your social security number?
Oh yeah, it's 555 55 5555.
Oh my God.
420 69 1975.
69. 69. Well, we're children. You know, we shouldn't even be on the internet.
Honestly, I should have not had anything. I should have not had Tumblr when I had Tumblr.
Nope, me neither.
I liked my Tumblr, but that was just me.
Oh no, I loved my Tumblr, but
Oh, same.
I feel like
There's
I
a lot of
wasn't, I
things.
mean, yeah, I don't know if I was very influenced by things that were on the internet as much as maybe you guys seem to have been, but maybe I'm just stronger than you guys. I don't know. That's a joke.
I'm
I'm
not
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm not saying I was influenced by stuff. I'm always skeptical about things I've seen on internet. I am one of those people that I fact check. Thank you very much. But yeah.
I can't say the same for
I
me.
know. Gabi, you're gonna need to go back into this episode and really listen to it and take the words to heart.
It's just therapy.
Next time on Double Gemini, we get therapy.
Dr. Drew,
I
psychoanalyst.
thought you were gonna say Doctor Strange. I have a problem. I feel like that's an ending.
Yeah, I feel
Therapy.
Go get therapy if you can. If you can't, fuck it.
just go get high and go swimming for a little bit.
Just wing life.
Just get on therapy side of TikTok. There's some generally helpful people there.
I'm back on tarot side of TikTok, which is problematic
Ooh.
because I believe
They
it a little too much.
They keep telling you that your soulmate's showing up in
They
a
just say
week.
things that are just a little too close to home. And I'm like, these are too accurate to not take to heart, but I try not to.
Because you don't find it, it finds you.
That's
scary.
true. I haven't been on it since the beginning of the summer. But manifesting is real, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, manifest your little hearts out, babies. Hope you had a really fun time listening to this episode. I think we had a really good time talking about all our opinions. This was an opinionated episode. We didn't tell stories. We didn't spill tea. Well, no, we spilled a little tea. But we're always sipping and spilling. We're sipping and spilling. Thank you, Anna, for joining us once again. We hope to see you again in the future. You have some great insight onto things, and I love to hear you talk.
Oh, thank you. I love being here talking to you guys.
I'm so glad. And again, this is the last episode of season 1, but season 2 will be coming soon in probably like 2 weeks. We're probably going to take a short little break, but as always, you can find us on all social media. Gabi, you want to throw out those handles?
The rounds. So you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Double Gemini Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Double Gemini Pod. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or you can see our little faces right here on YouTube.
Yeah, as always, we record our little sessions. Right now, we are all in separate places, but we still keep the vibes going.
Yeah, we got the lights.
So you can go to us on Double Gemini on YouTube, subscribe to us, give us a like. We also have clips from previous episodes. So if you don't want to listen to a whole episode or just see the fun little things, you can go watch those too, as well as our fun little TikToks on TikTok. We don't have a Tumblr yet, but yeah, so give us a little like, give us a little subscribe. We love to have you here. Shoot us a DM, tweet us, do anything if you want to talk to us and voice your opinions. Give us a comment down below about your experience with Tumblr, any of those.
Do you relate to us at all? Probably. If you're our age, you probably do.
Yeah,
in one way or another.
Anna, any closing thoughts?
Nope.
She is ready to go. All right, babies. This has been episode 15 of Double Gemini Podcast. We will see you next time. Season 1. All right.
All right. Bye.